Good morning to everybody joining us here live in the chat room this morning or live in the live stream. Happy to have you here. So today is Friday, so hopefully we can kind of end the week on a green note. That would be fantastic. So we're going to go ahead and go into some pre-market, see what's moving, and see if there's any plays that we can capitalize on for today. So based on what we got here, if we go into our scan, I even uploaded a video on how to set up your pre-market scanner if you want to check that out on YouTube. So basically right now we got a few things that are moving: AVEO, HUSA, AVGR. So there's a few different stocks that are moving right now in the market based on the pre-market action. But yesterday we've seen a lot of big movers, and what we're talking about here is we've seen IMUC, APHB, MAR, VSTM, KTOV. These were all stocks that were moving yesterday. So based on the stocks that were moving yesterday, I have eyes on, first would probably be VSTM. Just based on the amount of volume that we've seen coming into that stock, we had a ton of movement, a ton of momentum. So today we're really looking to see if we can get a break above its pre-market high or a break above yesterday's high of day. So if we can get a break above 385, there's a good chance this is going to continue running into the day. Or you could even play the pre-market high, but just to be safe, I would like to play VSTM on the break of its high of day yesterday, which is 385. If we can get that break, there's a good chance we could see momentum continue into this play. And if you just take a look over here with my right cursor, you see this huge jump that it took. It would be super nice to see something like that today. Not to say it's going to happen or it won't, but for me personally, VSTM is definitely going to be on watch for primarily the whole day based on the kind of momentum we've seen coming into yesterday's trading. So something for me today would be to watch this thing out the gates, and I would just like to see it ride up close to 385, and I would hop in for a break of 385, and then anticipate the break of the whole dollar mark, which is at $4, and then maybe you can even add to your position size if it gets a clean break through the $4 mark. $4 marks, if you're a beginner trader watching this, or if you're just experienced, you know as well as I do that whole dollar marks tend to be pretty strong resistance points. So if we can get a break through that, that would be good. Another one we have on watch is just KTOV. KTOV is just one of those ones that just spiked up yesterday, but as you can see right now, pre-market, it's kind of dumping down. So this is just kind of slowly fading to the backside of the watch list. This is something you could still watch. Intraday, maybe you could find a bounce play. But for me, I like to trade breakouts, and this isn't something I'm really interested in anymore. Another one that we have on watch is GLBS. Now, this is primarily going to be one of the ones we watch all day because it is an earnings winner. They just had a good earnings release, and apparently they did pretty well. They kind of crushed their earnings or, projected. So based on that information, this is something we want to watch. And I'm going to go ahead and step down just to one chart, and you can see this red line I have drawn over here. This red line has been drawn on this chart for the past probably 2 months, 2 or 3 months. And the reason it's been drawn that way is because if I go into a longer time frame, and I'll zoom in a little bit, and probably a little bit more here. So let me back out. This way you can understand a little bit better. So we've seen this huge decline. This thing's just kind of been dropping down, dropping down, dropping down. And then it finally had hit its low point right at 86 cents, and it bounced back up, and then it hit a high of like $1.82, $1.80, right? And since then, that's been its strong resistance point. It peaked out here from its downfall. We popped up, we tested it one more time, and now the stock is right here. It's testing that level for the 3rd time. Now we're getting a little bit of sell-off, but if this stock can actually break through that $1.80 mark, we have a strong chance of this thing ripping. But the 200-day moving average is only at about $2, a little over $2. So that's going to be your next resistance point. So this isn't one you're going to see a huge dollar mover, but it could be. So I would like to play GLBS for a break of the $1.80 mark, and something like that we could definitely see a nice rip because we have this is now the 3rd point of resistance that's hitting $1.80. So that's a strong, strong resistance point. And if you can break through strong resistance points, then you should essentially get a nice move. It's not guaranteed, but that is something that we're looking at and hoping for it to happen. So I'm going to go back into my trading screen. So far we got GLBS, VSTM, and like I said, I just tend to always play the break of pre-market highs or the break of previous high of days, they seem to work really well for me. If that's not something that you're into doing or a style that you like to trade, then by all means you can just take the information and run with it and just implement it into your own style and figure out what works best for you. Now there is a stock that I am in on right now, ZN. Now this thing's been running up for the past couple days. And I actually, I'm not going to go too much into this one, but I bought into this one yesterday, right at about here where my cursor's at on this spike, for a quick scalp. And then I ended up not being able to get out of the trade, and it's a long story, but we're not going to go into it. But pretty much as of right now, I've gotten very lucky because today pre-market it's up. So if it can hold these highs going in just into the trading day, I would literally hope for a little morning spike, and then I can sell into the momentum up. But if not, I'm just going to hurry up and close my order out while it's still up. So that was kind of cool. Little mistake ended up turning into a pot of gold for me there. So ZN, I do have to keep watch on this for when the market opens so I can see how it reacts and close on my order. And then from there, we're going to jump in to some of the other ones moving. So far, we kind of covered GLBS. There's another one that I'm looking at, which is AMDA. AMDA, now, it made a little bit of a move yesterday, but it has a strong resistance point right at 41 cents. This is kind of the same concept that we've seen with GLBS. GLBS had a strong resistance right at about $1.80, and the same thing goes for AMDA. It has a strong resistance right at 41 cents. So if we can get a clean break through 41 cents, I would be more than happy taking a position to try and go long on this for maybe a 10% move, 20% move. Okay, so that's definitely something I'm interested in playing is AMDA. It may not happen today, and it may happen a week from now, but this is something I'm keeping on watch. And I'll also go down in a one-year chart for you so I can show you exactly how I have this thing drawn out. Okay, so based on it, where it kind of cracked down, we have this downward trend line that's formed, right? And then we had a gap down. So as you can see, it's starting to slowly trickle back up. I'll zoom in a little bit more. So it gapped down, and we kind of hit all these high little peaks, and now we're kind of riding back up towards that downward trend resistance. So if we can get a clean break through that, I'm definitely looking at taking a position on this one. This is one that you can see a huge spike happening, kind of like here and here, or even here. So this is one where we could see that big spike happening. So that's why I'm keeping an eye on AMDA. This is one of those ones that kind of just fell off the bottom of the map and has slowly been trickling back up into play. So that's why I'm keeping it on watch for probably the next couple weeks to see if I can get a nice spike out of there once it breaks that downward resistance that I have drawn. Maybe it's not exactly perfect, and maybe it might be off by a little bit, but that's why I'm keeping a close eye on it throughout the weeks to come. Now, if we go into just the scan, now we're going to kind of take a look at what's moving pre-market. Okay, so first off, we have the highest gainer so far, based on my scan criteria, is HUSA. Now, HUSA has been ripping up to $1. Like the past two times, it went up to about $1, and then it's fallen off. So that is one that you could potentially look at to play, but you're going to have some resistance right about the dollar mark. So it's potential for a 20-cent move. Okay, so if we go into my trading grid, let's take a closer look at this. This could be definitely a potential player for today. Okay, so HUSA is just running up pre-market. A lot of times when you see stocks like this running up super high pre-market, there tends to be a sell-off right when the market opens. Not all the time. Some of these times when stocks run up, they do continue once the bell opens. But a lot of times what's going to happen once you have this big run-up is all the people that got into the stock later yesterday or maybe in the beginning of the day are seeing that it's up so high that as soon as the bell opens, they're just going to take their profits and run. And then you're going to see a quick drop down, and it'll find some type of support, and then it will bounce. That's usually what kind of happens with these. Not all the time, but it can happen. But, if you wanted to attempt to play, the previous high or the pre-market high, you'd be looking at getting in on the position for a break above about 83 cents. There isn't really a clear sign of support going into pre-market. So I would set my support right about 76 cents, which was, the previous high that it's seen yesterday. And then it may have been all day. Yeah, that looks like that was the high of day yesterday, so that's where I would set my support right there, is right at the high of day yesterday, since there's no clear sign of support within the actual pre-market today. So right now we got about 7 minutes till we go into the actual trading day. As soon as we get a little bit closer, I'm going to start talking a little bit less and get some of my orders ready to go. So that way I can just kind of be focused as we go into the actual trading day. Now, if we go back into the scan, we're going to pull up some more here. We got AVEO. AVEO, now I looked at earlier, right? This thing's kind of been going up for quite some time. You know, if you step in, if I go into a later time frame, maybe I'll do a 10-day chart for you. So as you can see, this thing's just kind of been crawling, just crawling up constantly, just constantly kind of going up. It's been kind of choppy some days here and there, but it's constantly been going up. Now it's up a huge amount pre-market. It's actually up, let me get my other tool out here. So we're looking at this and it's up by about 7%, 8% pre-market. Now that's kind of big. For me, I would like to play the break of the pre-market high as always. That would be my entry point. So if I could get a break above pre-market high, that could be a potential long for me. But it's already up and it's so high up right now that I just, you know, I don't see this thing getting past 270 right out of the gates. And then the volume's been decreasing. The volume's slowly been decreasing coming into these days. So I just don't know if there's enough volume to continue this run. So you could be looking at shorts coming into play soon. And, you know, this isn't the best description of AVEO right now, just because we have about, 5 minutes till the market opens. But you could. If you've already been in the stock, it might be a good time to sell. But I would personally look for a break above 270. Another one we got is, so AVEO just dropped back down to 7%. ZN is up here. ZN we kind of just went over. That's the stock that I'm personally in right now that's up 7% pre-market. AVGR is another one here. So AVGR just kind of made some moves yesterday. It could be on your, so a lot of the times, let me just clarify this. A lot of the times the stuff that I like, I'll look at APHB too. So a lot of the times that I like to do is I'll look at stocks that have made big moves the previous day, and I'm looking to see if we can continue that momentum into the next trading day. That's something I really like to do. Some other people like to look at the big losers for that day to see if we can have a bounce coming into the next day, which is completely fine. But I just think it's a little bit easier to spot breakouts and play stocks that have momentum, a momentum continuation into the next trading day. So with that being said, that's a lot of times with the stocks that I look at. So AVGR, it's gapped up pre-market, but zero volume. There's really no volume right now. If I look at level 2 down here, there's no orders even coming through. So that's kind of dead to me. Okay, so you want to see orders coming through, and there's a lot of things you want to pay attention to. But for me, even AVGR, it's the same thing, just a break above 59 cents. Now let's hop over to APHB. That's kind of been on some talk recently. So look, we had this big move yesterday, right? So we went up yesterday a pretty good amount. We gapped up to 138. I don't even want to say gapped up. It kind of shot up to 138 pre-market. Now we're down all the way down to about $1.10. So you could basically say $1.10. It dropped down a little bit lower to about $1.08. But I would really say that we're sitting on a support level. And I'll zoom in so maybe you can see a little bit better. So we're sitting right now on a support level of about $1.10. You see it dropped here. It dropped below that support level, quickly came back up, and now we've tested it quite a few times. So we're sitting in a strong support pre-market. That pre-market support could end up holding going into the trading day. So you could look to see when the market opens, does this thing kind of spike up and then come back down? So what I would do is I would wait. I would wait till the market opens and see if the stock tests this support level maybe once or twice more. And if it does, that might be a good sign it's time to get in based on the fact that it's touched that support not only a couple times pre-market, but a couple times going into the actual trading day. And if it can hold that support level, you may have found yourself a nice floor to get in on and then watch it ride up for the rest of the day. Okay, and so this would be one that I'm not really interested in playing the break of the high of day or high of pre-market because we're already 15, almost 20 cents off the pre-market high. So if I wanted to play that, I would have to wait all the way till it breaks 138, so I'm already missing 20 cents a share, basically reaching that high. So this would be something where you have to play a bounce play. Okay, that would be the only thing that makes sense. There is no playing the break of the pre-market high right now until it reaches that point, which could be later on down the day, maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Who knows? So APHB would be one we have to play kind of a bounce on. And I didn't know if there was any news on it. Looks like they may have sponsored. Yeah, they got sponsored. Some therapy workshop sponsored by the FDA and NIH was just maybe yesterday or 2 days ago. So that could be the reason why it's moving up on so much volume right now. So we got about 15 or about a minute until the market opens. So I'm going to go ahead and get some of my orders ready to go. And that's another thing I can't stress. So if you're looking at a particular stock, or you have, you know, whatever it is, money invested in a stock, or, you know, there's a few stocks that are on your watch list. Like, for example, like Dan Zoza in the chat right now. He's looking at GLBS and he's looking at APHB, right? He shouted those out in the chat right now. So he's looking at two stocks particularly, is what it sounds like. You know, if I'm him, or what he probably does and he gets ready, is he, you know, whether he's trading with Robinhood or wherever he's trading, as soon as the market's open, he is ready to go. He's got the amount of shares he wants to buy, and he's got, you know, his position already locked in as far as how he wants to enter it. He's got his plan ready, he's got the shares ready, and he's ready to go. So we're looking at the market open right now. So I'm going to hop over to ZN just because I have to check out what my stock is doing. So we're sitting at 463. I just went ahead and closed out my order because I'm already up, and now I can kind of go over. And who knows, it may continue to go up, but it is what it is. I just wanted to get out, locked in my profit from yesterday. I got kind of lucky on that trade, to be honest. Okay, so let's move in. What do we got? We got GLBS. Is GLBS making any moves right now? So GLBS looks like we're kind of coming up right now to potentially test that high of 182. So me personally, I'm going to go ahead and get an order ready on GLBS just in case it does want to come up and test that level. So GLBS did break through its resistance point. But it's kind of seeing a little bit of struggle getting through it very strong. So it broke through briefly, and now it's, you know, it's having a tough time getting through there. There's a few other ones. What are we looking at? You got AMDA. MARA looks like it's on the move a little bit. I actually got to change some stuff around in here. Okay, so GLBS is kind of making a move right now. Still having a tough time really running right now. Still having a tough time doing that. Okay, so GLBS is up. DGLY is up 43%. Like your videos will keep coming. So we're up. GLBS doesn't look like it's holding right now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hop over to another one, which is DGLY. Okay, so this one is basically gapped up pre-market. That's the only reason it's up there. So I'm going to go ahead and switch back to GLBS. Take off my news, get that out of the way. So I actually entered in on GLBS at the break of 180. For whatever reason, I didn't get filled right away, and it was a pending order, so I went ahead and canceled it. So I would have been in on this trade, but it didn't go through in time, so I ended up canceling it. Let's go back and check out what ZN's doing, just out of curiosity. And let's see, it spiked up to 478. and then it's coming back down. So I'm glad I got out where I got out. I'm completely happy with that. I went up, I think I was 8% on that trade. Let's hop back over to GLBS. Okay, so GLBS couldn't hold that break, and now it's coming back down. If we look at the 5-minute chart, what do we have going on? So the 5-minute chart, we just have our one big 5-minute with a long upper wick, which isn't really good. That's not a good sign. That means it could not hold those highs, and the real body is somewhere in the $1.70 range, where it originally kind of opened up at. Now let's go ahead. Okay. Now let's go ahead. I'm going to take a look at AVEO because that was also on our radar. So AVEO opens up, and I think I mentioned that. It was gapping up kind of high pre-market, so it looks like it kind of sold off right before then. It's finding support. That's not even really support, to be honest. But it looks like it has found a support right about the 200-day moving average on the 1-minute chart. And as you know, moving averages are resistance and support levels based on, whatever chart you're looking at. They can become resistance and support levels. So right now, this one's just kind of choppy. This is not something I'd be very interested in playing. DLGY, it was just the one that gapped up. DRYS, we never talk about DRYS. DRYS is like the worst stock you could possibly talk about. Sorry. Okay, so VSTM. So we're starting to get some more stocks popping up on my intraday scanner. This is what I like. I like when stocks start to come in because I can see that here are potential plays. So HUSA. All right, so like I said, you could play the break of HUSA, the previous high or the pre-market high. And even if you did that, you're up about 4%, 5% on your trade. So right now, it peaked out at about 90 cents, and it's just kind of fumbling around right there right now. So let's take a look at VSTM. That's that one that made that huge move. Okay, so VSTM, it just dropped out of the gates. Okay, right before it opened, dropped out. We kind of bounced up, so now we're looking at, technically that was a reversal trade right out of the gates. There was no previous high or break of anything right there. That was just a reversal trade right out of the gates. GLBS, it's down back to about 160, so that couldn't hold that high. IMUC is down 9%. AVGR is up 7-point-something%, but that was basically all pre-market movement that it did that in. And now it's fumbling back down. So right now, to me, there's not anything that looks super appealing. Maybe HUSA would be the one that I'm really interested, if anything, playing. It looks like it is on the move right now. But you do have to remember, honestly, I'm really not interested in getting on HUSA now that I think about it, because it recently just topped out at $1.05 recently and like $1.04 2 times in a row. So that's a strong resistance point. Although volume is coming in, that's a strong resistance point. So you could still get a nice move up there to that dollar mark. I mean, that's still a big move. But knowing what the stock has done in the past, I'm really not too adamant about buying it, to be honest. I don't think this is going to be that big mover. Not that I need a big mover, I just need a base hit. But based on what it's done, I've played it a few times. I'm not a huge fan of it. But, it could move all the way up to $1, and I'm pretty sure it'll come back down. If you look here on this chart down at the bottom, it peaked out at 105, peaked out at 104, and now we're coming right back up to that $1 mark. Although it does look like we're heading there with a little bit stronger momentum right now. We're hitting, it looks like stronger momentum going into that dollar range. So it could be a good play, to be honest. I'm just not going to play it. But let's just watch it and see what happens. And we got a drop. Okay, so now your ask is at 90 cents. The bid's at 90 cents, 92. So this one is one of the stocks that has a really tight spread. So putting in a market order, we can talk about that for a second. So I like to put in market orders, especially with stocks like this. The spread is only a penny. Everyone's so worried about, should I do a limit order? Should I do, stop loss and all this crazy stuff, right? Not crazy stuff. Sometimes it makes sense to do it, and other times I think it doesn't make any sense to do it, especially if you're using Robinhood. It can take you so long to setting up your stop losses or setting up your limit buys and all these different options. It can take you so long to do that by the time you even get ready to put your order in, the price is blown past where you want to get in for the phone. So what I personally do is look, okay, what does my spread look like? Okay, the bid is 88 cents and the ask is 89 cents. actually the bid was 88.37 or whatever. So that's a little less than a penny. So if I put in a market order, I'm going to get filled at 89 cents when the bid is 88 cents. I'm going to get filled 1 penny higher. Not a huge difference right there. Not a big deal. And if I'm trying to get in on an order quick, I'm going to use a market order. Why would I do I want to buy on the ask. If I see momentum starting to change and the price is going up, I'm not going to be greedy and try and get filled in at a lower price. I'm just going to go ahead and buy the ask so I can get in really quick and just ride that momentum up. So that's another thing to think about. When you're trying to get in a stock very quick, you need to put in market orders so you can get in really quick. Now, if the spread is really big and there's 20-cent spreads, then that's a little different. You're not trying to put a market order in when the spreads are 20 cents because there's 20 cents in which you could get filled at a lower price if you put in a limit buy. Okay, but something like this where there's only a spread of 1 penny, are you really going to be that concerned about a penny and put in a limit buy and risk missing the chance to get in right before the move or on the move? That just does not make sense. So I would really stress trying to do some market orders there. So now as we're looking in, we're getting a little bit more movement. But so far, I haven't really seen any really, really clean setups. The only one so far was HUSA that had that break. If we were on it, that could have been a one to play right at that break, but I missed that break right there, so that's okay. GLBS, still not doing much, to be honest. There's still, the market is honestly really choppy right now, it looks like. Yeah, if you're trading reversals, but I primarily just trade breakouts, and that's what I like to do. ARGS is up 8%, but as you can see, this is another one that's just really choppy. There is no clear chart pattern. There is nothing I could really see here that's going to help me define a pattern I want to jump in on. So that's another problem I would have playing into a stock like this. Although it is moving, it's not a ton of volume. Not that you can't make money on it, but there's just no, the candlesticks are up and down, up and down, up and down, and I'm not getting a clear picture there. So I'm just going to kind of slowly go back through some of these guys and see if I see any sort of patterns playing or coming into play that I would like. So ZN is completely dropped off and there's no volume into it today. TRTC, that just doesn't look very appealing. Back to VSTM. Nope, not for me. Now this could be something. THLD could very well be a good play for me. So this, I would play the break of 48 cents, and there it is, but I'm too late. So we got the break of 48 cents, but I was a little late to the party on that. Question is it going to continue? So we're breaking at 48 right now. The ask is only 48.6. There's no shares coming through right now. We're getting a little bit of red. So right now it's not moving. There's just not enough volume to continue this stock to move. But that would be, if you had enough volume, this is one of those perfect ones where you just get that clean break of the pre-market high, and then you could have a potential runner on your hands. Nope, just couldn't. Nothing special there. Didn't do it. SDRL. Now this is interesting. Still, there's just not enough volume coming in. There's just not enough volume to push these prices to where we need it right now. NEOT. NEOT would be the break of the previous high of day, which was 61 cents. So, again, it's kind of hard to catch stuff, right on time. But, then again, today there wasn't a lot of ones that had very clean shots out of the gate. HUSA was really the only one that I think had that real clean break right out of the gate, which was It dropped down. We did a little red to green move, broke above the previous high on pre-market. Then we just kind of went up, and if you were to play the break of pre-market there, you would have made and waited till the tippy top. That's if you made to the tippy top, you would have capitalized on about 11% gain. Within 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5-6 minutes, you would have made a pretty substantial gain very quickly. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap it up there. I haven't found anything I wanted to trade today. So with that being said, we're going to wrap it up there. Thanks everyone again for joining. I'll be trying to do these as frequently as I can. Usually I try and do them on my trading day so that if I find something I want to play, as I'm in the live stream, I'll play it for you guys. You can see how I get in and then how I get out, and I'll explain it for you. But as of right now, I haven't found anything I want to play. I'm currently up about 8% on the day due to ZN just kind of selling right out of the gate, so that was awesome. So right now I'm up 8%, haven't traded anything. This will be posted to YouTube, so if you guys want to go back and kind of watch over it, you can. And for any of those that end up watching the live stream on YouTube, make sure to send me a friend request. That way you can get into the live streams when I'm actually doing them, which will take place on my Facebook page. And once again, thank you for everyone for joining, and I appreciate the support and all that. And any questions, just ask, put them in the chat, send me a message on Facebook or wherever, just ask, and as soon as I can, I'll get back to you. And other than that, guys, have a good day, and hopefully you make some money trading today.